everyone. I am Stephanie Van Bark, and I am a small business owner. I want to apologize right up front. I know I look like a pixelated puzzle, and I do apologize for that. My DP, my husband, is out and about working, so I don't know how to fix this, but my guest looks good. So that's all that matters. So the person that I'm interviewing today, Jamila Ross, is the owner of, or co-owner of, the Copper Door. This business has been very interesting to me from the very beginning because, as I mentioned, it's from my beloved historic Overtown. But I have watched them really flourish in the last several years. So I'm interested to hear what's happening now during this trying time, but I'm confident they will thrive right through it. But without further ado, here we have Jamila Ross. Hello there. How are you?
Great. How are you?
Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me.
No, thank you so much for having me on. This is an awesome opportunity.
And see, I promise, she looks better. She looks good. She looks good. So just dismiss me. So tell me, start with, who are you and what do you do?
So my name is Jamila Ross, managing partner and co-owner for the Copper Door Bed and Breakfast. My day-to-day is quite hectic. For viewers that are familiar with bed and breakfast culture, it's very much the owners being hands-on. It's usually kind of one of those roles that a retired individual takes on. So it's a bit different to be our age and do something like this. So, you know, we're a part of operations through and through, from check-in to check-out to, of course, breakfast.
Well, I want to start very much. I know a little bit about your story, but I want to make sure you share with everyone your story. When I first met you and you told me how this came to be, I got to say I was very impressed. So if you'll share with the guests how the Copper Door came to be.
Right. So it came from an interesting place. Keno's originally from West Palm, South Florida boy, and I'm originally from New York and moved here about 8 years ago. And we basically were just kind of done with working for other people, in short. And we realized that a restaurant might be our opportunity. Prior to coming up with the restaurant idea, you know, as young entrepreneurs and being someone who is very interested in wanting to become one, we realized very quickly that real estate is an important, you know, part of generational wealth. So with that, I had grown up in hospitality as well as Keno, my background being in boutique hotels. But either way, we decided that we were going to purchase my first home. It was his second, and create a vacation rental. And we were looking for spaces for a potential restaurant after the vacation rental had been operational for about a year. And we came across this building, and it was boarded up. It looked like it had been neglected. We weren't quite sure what to make of the potential property. But once being escorted inside, seeing how much history it had, seeing how much preservation was there, my kind of like retirement dream of having a bed and breakfast and just kind of interacting with guests and making breakfast and you know, this type of dream job quickly became a reality when we walked those hallways and realized that there were 22 bedrooms and they all have been in decent shape, and that this could be a very important opportunity for our community and for ourselves as, again, kind of budding entrepreneurs. We just like, we grabbed it and like held on so tight, hadn't made a business plan, didn't even know what a good one looked like. I mean, really like, I mean, I can laugh now, but those first few drafts were horrendous. And all that to say, we really did just try. We felt so good about the space, about the opportunity, about us and our skill sets that we were willing to figure it out because we didn't have a clue. Like, honestly.
So did you and your family just kind of go in and hands on? Like, it was blood, sweat, and tears.
Very much so. Again, because we had never done anything like this before. We certainly
Mhm.
are food and beverage experts. We're not hoteliers. So you know, and we didn't have a great deal of money. We had invested everything that we literally had into this. So when it came time to open, you know, we're calling aunties and uncles and moms and everyone's help clean rooms and help set it up and help get things going. So, you know, at that point, and you know, at the place in our lives, we don't have children yet, but everyone around you looks to you, you know, at some point your you know, family members look to you as like, what do you need, what can we do?
Right.
And they saw this kind of like dream baby come alive, and it was all hands on deck. So
They said
um
that entrepreneurs rely on friends, family, and fools. So
that's it.
to get the brick and mortar going. Now,
Agreed.
this was an ambitious investment. Has it been over the years all that you imagined it to be? It's your dream. It's your baby. Has it been all you've imagined?
Yeah, there have been many situations where I've been able to step back and like, this is what I wanted, this is what it's about, this is what the goal is. And it happens so frequently, whether it's between interactions with guests, sometimes the gifts that they give us from their home countries, because
Mhm.
a great deal of our guests are international travelers, the emails and handwritten letters sometimes from our guests. When people walk up to the desk and they're like, I just had a really good, like, I need to let you know that I did have a really good time. And like, you know, this wasn't what I was like, we get that a lot. Is that like their perspective is that this wasn't what they were expecting. So that along with, I will say that the one thing that I didn't expect and I didn't anticipate, but was very positive, and I really yearn for it now, is the connection that we have with our community.
Uh-huh.
There have been many times where people will just walk in and ask what's going on and want to talk, and those moments are also extremely important, and they do resonate with me most of the time, because a lot of the conversations that we have with our neighbors are heartfelt and exciting, and sometimes we get drop-bys and visits, and to have other people just share what we're doing in general is always like really sweet. um, and that was not expected, but it's something that I definitely missed during this time of kind of quarantine and isolation that I'm really looking forward to get back into. So I hope that our community, and I hope that we're communicating to everyone that our doors are still open, even though masks are required.
Exactly. We got a little issue going on, but it's working. We're working on it. We're working on it. Um, so you're trucking along. I've actually watched, as I said, I've been very impressed. As you mentioned, you have an international audience. Do you think that international audience is due to the fact that they understand the boutique hotel industry a little better, or is it, is a slow thing for the American market to catch on?
I agree to both of your points. I think that it's twofold. One, the idea of a bed and breakfast or a guest house, or this kind of intimate accommodation experience, is very common, specifically in European countries. But it's also very common for travelers in southern states, coastal southern states, and those that are amongst a great deal of nature.
Okay.
So it's a bit different when you have travelers coming to Miami. They're usually not interested in a bed and breakfast experience,
Yeah.
and certainly not a city one like we are.
Right.
But we have a great price point. Our reviews are amazing. Our
Mhm.
breakfast is out of this world. And I feel like international travelers kind of like, as long as it's clean, safe, I don't have to worry about breakfast, and it's central, like, then and the price is good, like I'm definitely going. And the
Right.
American demographic, we've kind of been spoon fed this idea of like, when you go somewhere, you need to stay at a hotel, and what a hotel looks like, and who
Absolutely.
runs a hotel, and
Absolutely.
what do the rooms look like. And it's very, we've been kind of in this box. And that's usually why the bed and breakfast consumer is eclectic, is kind of, you know, kind of off the beaten path, and
Mm.
typically tends to be an older crowd, because they're not really interested in bells and whistles. They just want something that feels like their own home.
Right. Right.
um, so it's different, and we do find that some American guests, we kind of have to give a little bit more detail or kind of like explain. And originally that kind of was a bit of an issue because we were getting some feedback that like it wasn't what they were expecting, or I thought this was the hotel, that kind of verbiage. And across the board, not only Americans, don't get me wrong, but that gave us fuel and power and energy to be able to, for example, curate our welcome message to say like, hey, if you've never had a bed and breakfast experience before, you're in for a treat. This is the opportunity where we get to host you, like, that whole
A little bit more
personalization. So
intimate.
yeah, we've definitely been that type of business that has always taken the feedback, positive or negative, and
Right.
took the time to understand and to kind of like apply it to what makes sense to make everyone feel more comfortable.
Well, I mean, that's obviously worked for you very well. Again, I've watched you for about 3 years and in awe at how you've grown. I think it's several events that have come to the area. You've been booked. Definitely the art experience. You've drawn that audience. I was very excited to see that Forbes just announced you were the Copper Door was one of I believe you were first on the list, if I can be honest about it.
Second, but it's all good.
Okay, it's in that top. But seven Black hotels or Black-owned hotels in the country that you must visit. We actually have another neighbor who has a hotel in Ohio. She also has one here in Overtown who was on that list as well. How first of all, how proud of you of that, and then how do you capitalize on that during this time, that kind of announcement that you really just plaster, but
Right.
we go through.
Yeah, we're so grateful to be a part of that list. We're in obviously a very, very difficult time in our country. And it's bittersweet, right? Because maybe this article would come out if it wasn't, for the circumstances and for the amount of pain and suffering that our people have gone through, for people to wake up, for a writer to realize that, hey, this article might be important, and for a corporation like Forbes. So we're super honored. We're amongst literally some of the best in the country as well. We're big fans of a lot of the other hotels and bed and breakfasts that were featured in that article.
Right.
And yeah, we've never, again, we're first-time entrepreneurs to some degree. We certainly have some business savvy, and marketing is something that I'm really trying to get a better grasp on, because it's times like this where, never been through a pandemic before, never had to shut down under someone else's watch. And so what the goal is right now is to capture that audience. We did the Instagram post, by far the most liked post that we've ever posted. And I mean, within an hour or two, we were beyond 500 likes, which was
Awesome.
outstanding.
Very cool.
We realized that our subscriber list for our emails had shot up. So I take all this information, and the way I feel like it's important, and it's marketing savvy, to then give the people what I got to keep going. Like, now the bar has been set. Everyone started following. Everyone's waiting. Everyone has subscribed. So when is the next email? When is the next post? When is the next announcement? And it's a difficult aspect of business to juggle. But when something like that drops, you gotta grab it. You gotta ride that wave. You gotta keep going.
Absolutely. In the past, how did you start sort of your marketing?
Oh, Stephanie, it looks like the audio went out a bit. I can't hear you.
Sorry. Let's see. Wait, hold on. I don't know what's going on today. It's really weird.
I still lost you.
Wait, do you hear me? Okay, so we might have to close.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but can you hear me?
Oh, and you're fuzzy.
Okay. I'm going to close and we'll open back up. So one second. Okay.
I can't hear you. Okay.
Do you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
No, and you're in slow motion. I was able to hear it
Oh, yeah.
because you're in slow motion. I was able to hear what you said. I can't hear you. No.
Okay. And I'm not sure what to do. Let's see. Hold
But you
on.
can clearly hear me.
Yes, I can hear you. Let's see.
Okay, right.
Can you see
If
this?
if maybe you can text me or email me how you want to
I was trying to send a
change
message.
this.
Okay. Look at the time.
I can see you,
Okay, let's see.
but I can't hear a thing.
Okay. I apologize, everyone, that we can't.
Yes, I can't see. Yeah, I can't see the
Okay,
comment.
hold
I
on, hold
can't see the comment.
on. Okay. Let's see.
Very creative.
I know. Okay, let's I'm gonna send on the phone. Let's close and start over. Okay. Let's see. Okay. 1 second. 1 second.
Okay, I just got your text. Okay, we'll close.
Okay.
We'll close and start over. Let me see.
Okay. Let me do, yeah, stop. And then, okay, everyone, we are back, and I do apologize for that. We'll fix this. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Before we actually had the tough technical difficulties, there was a couple of people that were chiming in and trying to get your contact information. And I promise we will get to that, but I got some more questions for her. So again, you're trucking along. I was sort of asking, how did you start out marketing and sort of getting an audience to look at your hotel?
Yeah, so it was a matter of relationships. Kino has been in the culinary world, specifically here in Miami, for around 6 or 7 years now. So he has definitely gotten us behind, being a sous chef and an executive chef. He's been able to get behind the scenes in terms of certain writers and bloggers and things like that. And we just honestly, we started communicating. There was nothing else to do but to try to show off the space, to try
Right.
to explain to people what we were doing, to try to just bring people in. So it was a matter of a few things. One was our outreach to a Herald writer who we invited over and who did a beautiful spread in Indulge magazine. He's been such a supporter even before he walked onto the property and before he met me personally, but he had known Aquino. And we definitely took the time to understand our community, understand what was taking place in Miami, and we took advantage of all of them. Every leadership session, we were at, Venture Cafe. We took part in 10 Days of Connection, hosted by the Miami Foundation, and we did open house series for one of the days where we literally just opened doors. Whoever was curious, interested, wanted to come, could come. And we just showed them the space and, not a piece of furniture in sight. And just as our, local community being supportive without even seeing a bed, without tasting Kino's food, without any of these very tangible items that made a business, just our outreach alone intrigued people to want to know more, and it continued and grew into a bit of a following that we're obviously very thankful for. The last thing that I would say has been our reviews by far. When it comes down to decision making from a consumer's perspective, it really does, especially with travel, starts out with the reviews and what the reviews say, and the responses to those reviews, good or bad. I think that those three things, like having the Indulge article was very, very strong. But our reviews and like our local support has always been strong. Like even analytics for like social media or whatever, it's like New York, Miami. But as mentioned earlier, around 80% of our guests are traveling from outside of this country most of the time. And they're going on cruises and things. And I definitely credit that to our guests writing reviews, writing great reviews, and having great experiences.
And you've had some really strong relationships. I know Connie Kennard from the Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau is a big fan. She talked about you on the show. So it's been, definitely I've been sort of in the background watching as these connections have been very supportive. And the gentleman from the Bayside Foundation, I know he's talked about the bed and breakfast as well. Yeah. So I'm, very happy to see that in this market, relationships are everything. That's definitely what's gonna help you thrive. Do you feel that has also been instrumental in growing your business in a way?
Sorry, the question was, has what been instrumental?
The relationships that you've been able to garner.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. I mean, absolutely. And I really do think that it's like, Miami is not an easy city. So yes, anyone that you ask, especially as a startup, you have to know, you have to know these people. Or once you get into the group, once you're seen as an Overtown business, and once you know everyone, you can walk into a room and there's recognition, like it comes together. And unfortunately, right, being a new kid on the block, that can be intimidating to say the least. I think that the relationships have been as strong because we've been honest and transparent and genuine from the very start. Yeah. I think that it's very easy to see people trying to accomplish something and think certain things of them. And I think that we didn't cloud our goals or who we were or what we were trying to achieve by any of the persona type of things, or kind of telling people what they wanted to hear or anything like that. And it has cultivated very genuine relationships. And it's like, what, like, Jamila she asked about what promotions are coming up. Like, I'm going to take my time to reach back out to her or to answer her call, because it's coming from her. Like, I'm not just talking. Like, when we do need help, we do raise our hand. We're certainly not the business where it's like, we'll try to not be transparent and mask our challenges by other things, but we are very real with our partners about, assistance and what we can do, vice versa, of course.
Okay. Which brings us to today. This is a city that's primarily familiar with weather circumstances, but nothing as, much of a challenge as this.
Yes.
What have you, first, let's talk about some operational things you had to put into place in order to sustain yourself during this time. Some decisions maybe you had to make in order to survive, during this time.
Right. It kind of came out of nowhere. So no one knew what to expect. Right. One thing that has certainly sustained us has been communication between our guests. We are the mom and pop, and sometimes it was a matter of kind of having a heart to heart sometimes with guests about, the fact that, we're not a Marriott, this is not a Hilton. We don't, when it comes to cancellations and you not being able to be here, we completely get it. And we 110% respect that. And we'd love to have you back when it is the safest opportunity for you to have a good time. So with that being said, we offered credits for future stays. Because there was a difficult time where, the refunds, like we were giving out more than we had, was to appease, guests. So we definitely, it was a challenge to understand what we needed to do and how we needed to do it. I think that a lot of our guests did genuinely choose us for us, and they were willing to rebook stays. When it, hospitality and being in such close interaction, what I'm kind of pitching at the moment is that I'm working so hard to ensure that the intimacy of our business and of the experience doesn't fade away, because that is what makes us special. The fact that I'm sipping coffee with you and we can chat about whatever you're interested in, whether that's travel or how we started this business. And the fact that with social distancing, a lot of that is being trimmed away little by little. We're walking our guests to their rooms and opening the door for them and pointing out certain things so that they feel a certain level of comfort. And it seems that now that may not be an opportunity for us to really kind of show our idea of hospitality. So we're working hard to, create more of a digital based business so that we can communicate these things and so that they know that it's coming from us. One of the big opportunities as well is the sanitation and safety aspect, because as much as we really do hone in on our housekeeping team and our cleanliness, and again, we're grateful for all the reviews that say that we're so clean, because we really do put a lot of energy into it. The idea, the standard that we set for our team is that like everyone knows that they're not the only person that has stayed in this bed or in this room, but it needs to be as clean and look like this is
they are.
This is right, exactly. So with that, we've gotten the handheld UV lights to assist us with, cleaning, then sanitizing, and ensuring that sanitation is of a high level. We're gonna do temperature checks for guests' arrival. We're offering self-check-in opposed to one-on-one check-in. And we're, again, really working hard on our verbiage and stuff and our digital communication so that that it came from Aquino and I, just like we were, there greeting you. And right now we're pitching for assistance and funding when it comes to, opportunities where our competitors have the means to get, sanitation robots and things that can clear out wide spaces and sanitize wide spaces, within a short amount of time. And as much as, we want to get up to full occupancy, it will take time. So that's our, goal, and what's on the to-do list at the moment is really trying to understand how we can stay competitive, stay in line with CDC, requirements, and really give our guests the experience that they obviously deserve to have without cutting corners when it comes to our part and what we.
Well, it's. Can you hear me, Dashura? Hello, do you hear me?
Yes, I'm with you.
Okay. So I was watching the news maybe 2 weeks ago, and there was definitely a show about the tourism industry here, which is huge, and that definitely feeds into hospitality, and what the hotel industry is having to do or to convey about the cleanliness, as you mentioned, the sanitation under these circumstances. What is the industry saying specifically about that? And what does the industry feel about the future of tourism and its ability to sort of snap back when it comes to hospitality?
Right. So I think, it's gonna take a lot of power behind it. I definitely, where I'm looking at right now is the road trip travel really being a strong opportunity. I mentioned earlier cruise goers. Those that are going on cruises and that are heading to the port of Miami are literally about 75% of our guest demographic.
Okay.
So it's a challenging feat because we don't know when cruise lines are going to open again. So with that, I want to take advantage and want to really hone in on road trip travel and the opportunity for staycations. Everyone's, really itching to get out of their homes. And I think that will be the direction that tourism takes for the meantime, for the temporary.
I agree. I didn't even think about the staycation thing. I agree. Because tourism is going to take a minute for it to bounce back. I know when I talked to Connie, she was like, we're just going to keep plugging to try to see if we can make people feel safe and sound. And, Miami is definitely a tourist spot. It's hot and it's sexy and it's all those things.
Right.
So I would imagine, hospitality is definitely going to have to band together, really, maybe even, boutique and high profile hotels to really get that message out there.
Right.
So are these operationally things you think you will continue? Or, some may be able to adapt some of this as we sort of come out of this time.
Right. I mean, I definitely think that it will be the new standard. Everyone is categorizing, these changes and things as the new normal, and I do think that it will continue to be something that's going to be required in terms of mask, gloves, having sanitizer on you, washing your hands, things. And I do, we'll see what happens with travel. Again, I think everyone's kind of like itching to get out.
Mhm.
So it's one of those things that's really hard to determine at the moment.
So how was your funding experience trying to seek funding? Were you successful? Was it tricky? Did the relationship with your bank help?
Right, right. It continues to be a challenge for us. We opened up Rosie's Pop-Up, which is a quick order breakfast, to-go breakfast. We opened that up in hopes of it being able to sustain our team. I mean, to not have a month like March really drastically changed our numbers, and just being able to survive these last 3 months has been extremely difficult. Since the March 19th kind of shut down when it came to hotels and lodging. So PPP is something that we initially tried to fund for. We do have partners in this particular business, so it's hard to kind of get everyone on the same page, for lack of a better word. So we haven't received yet. We did apply for the Florida emergency loan, which has also been a great challenge. It seemed that we applied kind of too early at some point, and they were still trying to get things together, and our application ended up slipping through the cracks and not being passed through.
Wow.
Yeah. The unemployment office, as many Floridians know right now, is still super messy, and hasn't been able to pull through for any of our team members yet. What else?
So you're holding on to the team until some of that can come through.
Right.
Awesome. That's very cool. That's actually very cool.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, as we're entering into our second year in operations, and after the first year, understanding how to handle summer, how to handle slow season, how to handle hurricane season. We walked into 2019, 2020, reserving as much as we could during high season with that anticipation.
Okay.
We're thankful that we did have that mindset, although now that reserve that we had collected is depleting, and we're just entering summer, and we're just now entering hurricane season. So it does leave us really unsure about what's next.
Right. So have you had a chance while the next couple of months or the past months to come up with some new and creative ideas? This is where the pivot plan. I know many of our guests have thought about some new creative ways to sort of really take this opportunity to regroup, rethink, maybe look at their scale up plan and an emergency plan. Have you been afforded that opportunity during this time?
So I mean, the pivot in our minds has been the excuse me, has been the cafe, Rosie's Pop-Up. We are interested in taking part as a shelter, either for the homeless or those that have been bailed out. We've also applied to be a shelter during hurricane season in the case that happens, and that's obviously a connection directly with the city. So those are our potential plans.
Okay. So let me make sure I haven't missed anything. I noticed on your page on your website, you have a little coupon that said, or a little something that says, "Thank you for supporting local." How can we support you?
Yeah.
From a local point of view. Yeah.
Right. I mean, a staycation is certainly supportive. Going to Rosie's, getting breakfast is also extremely supportive to our business. And I think just getting the word out, it's now that we're in the social media age and the digital age, we see how much leverage and coverage something can give by sharing with a friend. So
Mhm.
just the idea of continuing to spread the word has really been helpful, and we just encourage everyone to continue to do that.
Last question before I ask you how we can get in touch with you is, we, in addition to the pandemic, we are sort of in a state of unrest that is around the inequalities I feel that, African Americans have experienced. Speaking from a business point of view, um, I would be interested in knowing the Black owned and operated hoteliers, are they going to be able to sustain themselves during this time? And have there been sort of a coalition of looking at ways to use this opportunity also to really ensure those hotels are front and forward as we go forward?
Yeah, I mean, it's within the Overtown area, small businesses, we have kind of like an email thread where we're sharing information and trying to gain understanding. I haven't come across anything in the Black hospitality space yet,
Mhm.
but again, given what has happened in our country right now, there are a great deal of like-minded people, and especially entrepreneurs that are in similar businesses coming together to create a bigger change to help sustain us all forward. So I
Absolutely.
definitely do see things like that happening. We personally happen to not be a part of one, but we are open to it for sure. I think that having a team, and things do happen in numbers. So
Okay. Well,
yeah.
I'm one of your biggest fans, so we'll keep sharing and letting as many people as we know about it. Pauline McCartney Wallace wants us to please have you share your name, your contact info, or the contact for the bed and breakfast.
Sure.
Please, if you'll let us know how she can get in touch with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Jamila Ross. My partner's name is Akina West. The business email is stay@copperdoorbnb.com. That's also our handle for social media across the board, the suffix copperdoorbnb.com or Copperdoor B&B. And our website is copperdoorbnb.com.
Okay. So, and that's going to be very instrumental, because I didn't even ask you about events that have been sort of the cornerstone of your revenue as well. But we'll see how that goes. Hopefully, that'll pick up again in the fall.
Right.
So, thank you so much. I'll come eat breakfast. I forgot I could come eat
Sounds
breakfast.
good. We'd love to have you.
Thank you so much for joining me today. And, I'll definitely be in touch.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Thanks, Stephanie.
Talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye.
So again, I want to apologize for the technology. I'm not sure what's happening today, but we'll definitely figure it out. I want to give you a couple of announcements about talking business. We have been going at this for about 11 weeks, 3 shows a week. So it has been fun. It has been amazing. But I am going to take a bit of a break. Don't worry, we will be coming back. We're definitely going to reach out to more businesses that we think could give us some real insight as to how to do this right, but probably not as frequently. And it will be the live shows will be sporadic in between replays. We really want to take this time to replay several of the shows because we feel like the information was just so powerful, and definitely going to be a guide for those of us who are trying to spark new ideas and stay afloat, and may also give us an opportunity to go back and talk to some of those guests just to see where they are today. So please stay tuned. We will definitely be back on sporadically, but in the meantime, you'll definitely see some of those shows again. So some of those people you missed, or saw and just want to get the information again, we definitely invite you to tune in. Also, we started this really as an information source. We wanted to create a community specifically for small businesses during a trying time so we can support one another with information, brainstorming, ideas, maybe even a little bit of cheerleading. And we want that to continue. We really want to hear from you. We want to know how you feel about small business and how we can really support small business, and in particular African American businesses. And that's not in lieu of other businesses. I'm a big fan of all small business. I definitely love to see what others are doing and see if I can mirror or at least be inspired by. But this is an opportunity, I feel, that we can equalize the playing field and really help our small businesses, and in particular African American small businesses, to be successful and tap into the resources that are necessary to be successful. So this is a tool that we would like to keep feeding you whatever information we know. We encourage you to feed us whatever information we know, so that so that this becomes a community of support, and we're able to rally to help, not only save our businesses, not only put them in a situation where they're surviving, but they're thriving. Additionally, I've been looking personally at ways I might be able to do what I do, the platform that I have, particularly in the civil unrest, to really make a difference. And I feel like in any way that I'm able to promote businesses, support and shop Black businesses, which has become one of my intentional goals, to see where I might be able to put my monies, to encourage my friends, both African American and not African American, to see the importance of investing in businesses like ours, like mine, to really push that message of equality and opportunity, is where I feel my space is. That's my passion. That's my drive. That's my hope. The community that I live in, historic Overtown, that I talk about all the time, is a historically Black neighborhood. Primarily African American residents live here. There's been some challenges, but it is on the cusp of revitalization. And so we want to make sure that we're supporting businesses like those that have laid roots here, but also are laying roots all over this country in their communities, because churches and local businesses are the anchor of every community across this country. If they don't survive, small businesses hire local, they hire their neighbors, they hire, in some cases, people who have had some challenging pasts. They're willing to take some risks that major corporations aren't. They're willing to take a risk on people. And if we don't help those businesses survive, we can't help those people stay employed. And as we mentioned today, as we show today, a small business that felt the need and is feeling the need to try to support their family, because this is a family venture. It's not just about the owners. It really is about also the people who are willing to come in and support, both employees. I'm very grateful for mine, Tiffany Ortiz, who's been amazing. She's our community liaison and our tech guru. We also have Chris Bourne, who's our web developer and really makes us look good in the cyberspace and in the cyber world. So I do thank you, and I want you to know I'm very pleased with what you do on a regular basis. But again, don't mean to preach, don't mean to lecture, but just want to let you know where my heart is, and you'll see that passion grow and grow as we try to grow Talking Business. Last but not least, before I leave, I wanted to announce that one of the businesses that was on our show, Jennifer Behar, who's a very good friend of mine, and has been sort of a counsel and a support system, she owns Jennifer's Homemade. Next week, I'm going to take over her Instagram at Jennifer's Homemade and use that opportunity. She has a vast audience, and I'm going to use that opportunity to see if we can highlight some of the Black-owned businesses that I'm very familiar with, the community I'm very familiar with, in hopes that we can cross-promote and share to an audience that may not know about some of the restaurants we have here, the hotels and bed and breakfasts we have here, the businesses we have here. So please tune in. We'll give you the announcement as to when that will occur. We think it's going to be Tuesday, but we're working out the particulars. But we want to walk through the neighborhood, mask and all, and talk a little bit about what's available to an audience of folks that may not know these businesses exist. So please tune in. We'll give you the information. Before I leave, again, we are coming back. Don't worry, I promise. We'll have sporadic live shows, and we'll keep the shows that we have recorded going and showing, and so you can continue to get information. But how you can connect with me is Stephanie, STEPHANIE at stephaniecreates.com. Again, that's Stephanie at stephaniecreates.com. And we really encourage you to go to goingovertown.org. It is our source of sharing what's going on in our neighborhood, and we definitely like to do that for other communities. We would really like for you to sign up for our email that we send out on a regular basis that gives announcements of things going on in the community and beyond. And, also tune into our social media page. We are on both Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. So any way you can connect with us, if you know of anything that's happening, please share it. If you know of any businesses we need to talk to, please share it. And we definitely hope to hear from you soon. And we hope that you will continue to follow and learn more about what we hope we can do for the businesses in our community, and outside of our community too, because we've definitely talked to some folks in other areas, in other parts of the country. And so thank you. Thank you for indulging me for a moment. We'll connect again soon. You have a great day.